If you really loved me, you'd surprise me with a vacation, or I'm going back to my ex, she said. So I left her first. Now I'm on a trip, and she's crying in my DMs. Hey viewers, before we move on to the video, please make sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the like button if you want to see more stories like this. Thanks. I don't know exactly when things shifted between me and Madison, but it wasn't all bad from the start. She was sweet, creative, and honestly, beautiful in that artsy, chaotic way that pulls you in before you realize the fire's not warm. It's destructive. We met 2.5 years ago at a friend's rooftop party. She was wearing these oversized sunglasses at 10 p.m. and talking about how she was done dating broke men with 6-packs and no plans. I was the exact opposite, nerdy, quiet, ambitious. I was 27, already a software engineer at a decent startup, and she liked how stable I seemed. Her words, not mine. She moved into my apartment 9 months after we started dating. Said it would help her focus on content creation full-time, which, at the time, meant TikTok dance trends, 3 podcasts she never edited, and exactly 1 attempt at starting a lifestyle blog. I covered rent, utilities, groceries, everything, without complaining. I figured it was temporary. I just need a little space to grow, she said once, curled up in my hoodie on the couch. You're the only person who believes in me. I did. I really did. That belief cost me about $14,000 over the next year. Things got rough at work about 8 months ago. Layoffs hit half our team. Those of us who survived had to absorb the load. I went from working 50 hours a week to 70, sometimes 80. I was exhausted all the time. I stopped going to the gym, stopped seeing friends. My life became code, deadlines, and falling asleep during Netflix with takeout boxes on the coffee table. Madison didn't take it well. She'd walk into my home office mid-call just to ask if I wanted boba. Or she'd pout and say, "You've been looking at that screen all day. You don't even look at me like that anymore." I tried. God, I tried. I'd still cook when I could. I'd run errands, bring home little things she liked. One time I left her a note on her mirror before heading out at 6 a.m. Just a dumb little, "Good morning, love you" thing. She didn't mention it. Later that day, she posted a selfie captioned, "Some people can't see your worth unless you're gone." I don't even know who that was for, but it sure as hell wasn't for me. Money started to get tight. I never told her how tight. I'd burned through a lot of my savings keeping us afloat. She wasn't bringing in any income, and despite claiming she'd go back to freelance editing if things didn't pick up, she never did. She'd apply to 1 or 2 gigs a week, then complain they were beneath her. Meanwhile, her Amazon wishlist kept growing. Every month, I'd say something like, "Hey, maybe we should scale back on spending this month. Rent's a little heavier than usual." And every time, I get something like, "Don't make me feel guilty for wanting a little joy. It's not my fault your job stresses you out." That one stuck with me. It wasn't just the money. It was the comparisons. She brought up her ex, Tyler, more and more, casually at first, then more pointed. He was the kind of guy who'd blow rent money on last-minute concert tickets or motorcycle parts. Unreliable. Broke. The kind of guy who gave romance a bad name. But to her, he used to write me poems on paper towels. You've never done that. Tyler once drove 3 hours just to bring me soup. Say what you want, but at least he made me feel wanted. I used to laugh it off. Then it started feeling like she wasn't reminiscing. She was comparing. She wanted the thrill back. She wanted chaos dressed up as passion. I couldn't compete with chaos, not when I was paying for both our lives. The night I really started to feel the cracks forming, she walked into the kitchen wearing this brand new dress, tags still on, and said, "We should go somewhere tropical. Just pack up and leave. I need an escape." I blinked. "Madison, I can't take time off right now. We're sprinting toward a product launch. Maybe in a few months," she groaned and cut me off. "Jesus, you're always working. Do you ever just live? Or are you planning to code through your own funeral?" That's when I realized something. She didn't respect the life I was building. The sacrifices weren't romantic to her. They were boring. In her eyes, I wasn't providing. I was failing. I stayed quiet for weeks after that, just trying to hold things together. But I saw the shift. The eye rolls. The side comments. The sighs when I told her I had another late night. The complete lack of gratitude. She started talking more openly about needing someone who just gets it. She didn't say his name. She didn't have to. By the time we got to the fight, the one where she'd finally say it out loud, I wasn't even shocked. Just tired. 3 weeks before the fight, Madison posted a poll on her Instagram story. Would you stay with someone who never surprises you anymore? Options were, no, effort is love. Yes, I'm a doormat lol. She didn't tag me, but she didn't have to. That same day, I came home with takeout from her favorite Thai place. Even grabbed her weirdo milk boba order. She barely looked up from her phone and said, "You forgot extra peanut sauce." She wasn't joking. She wasn't even mad. She just didn't care anymore. Madison had started sleeping late and staying in bed until noon, scrolling on TikTok and sending me manifestation couple videos. She sent one clip of a guy surprising his girlfriend with plane tickets and a voiceover saying, "When he loves you enough to fly you across the world without you asking." She added a heart emoji. I responded, "Must be nice. Hope he cleared PTO with his manager first." She left me on read. The next week, I missed her cousin's birthday dinner. I had a system crash at work, the kind of thing that can cost us millions if we don't fix it overnight. I texted her multiple times. She never responded. When I got home the next morning, she was already up and on the couch in full makeup, scrolling through photos. "You know what's funny?" she said without looking at me. "Tyler never missed birthdays. Or holidays. Or anything. He made me feel like I came first. I didn't even take off my shoes. Just stood there, hollowed out." "You mean the guy who forgot to pick you up from the ER when you had bronchitis?" I asked. She rolled her eyes. "At least he had passion." "You're like a walking spreadsheet." That Friday, she brought up vacations again. "You said once you wanted to take me to Italy," she said while folding laundry. "That was before I wasted 2 years waiting for you to follow through." I nearly choked. "Italy? Madison, I'm literally working 14-hour days to make sure we can afford rent. You know I had to dip into my savings just to keep us afloat after you stopped freelancing, right?" She didn't flinch. "That's not my fault you're bad with money." The air left the room. "What?" I asked, stunned. "You make good money, but you act like we're poor. Other guys surprise their girlfriends with weekend trips, and they don't work half as much as you." "You mean Tyler?" I said quietly. She looked me dead in the eyes and shrugged. "I don't care if you worked 80 hours this week. If you really loved me, you'd surprise me with a vacation right now." Then, like she was ordering takeout, "It's not my fault you're bad with money. If you don't, I'm returning to my ex." Silence. She stood there, arms crossed like she just won something. But she didn't win. She ended it. I didn't say a word. I walked to the bedroom, grabbed my duffel bag, stuffed it with clothes, toiletries, my laptop, and walked right out the door. She didn't follow. She didn't ask me to stay. She just let me leave like she was testing if I'd come crawling back. But I wouldn't. She'd said everything I needed to hear. For the first 48 hours after I left, there was nothing. Not a text. Not a call. Not even a passive-aggressive Instagram story. It was like she expected me to come crawling back, like this was just another fight in her head, and the silence was part of the game. But I wasn't playing anymore. I crashed at my coworker Eli's place that weekend. Told him I needed a few days. I didn't say much else, and he didn't push. He handed me a beer, tossed a pillow on the couch, and let me be. The next morning, I slept till 11 a.m. for the first time in months. And when I woke up, I didn't miss her. I missed my bed, my books, the quiet routine I used to have. Before every day became a performance for someone who thought love meant grand gestures and TikToks instead of rent, loyalty, and late-night grocery runs. But I didn't miss her. On day 3, the text started. "Madison, so you're really not going to even talk to me?" I ignored it. "Madison, wow. After everything I put into this relationship." I almost laughed at that one. "Madison, you're acting cold. You never used to be like this." No, I didn't used to be like this. I used to be available, predictable, willing to bleed out slowly just to keep the lights on in a relationship where I was never seen as enough, just as a tool to be used until I broke. By the end of the week, she was calling. I didn't answer. Eli watched me glance at my phone, silence it, and toss it face down. "She finally feel the earthquake she started?" he asked. I nodded. "She thinks it's temporary." He shrugged. "You moved out. That's permanent enough." Then the messages changed tone. "Madison, Tyler said he's not ready for anything serious." I thought he'd matured, but yeah. There it was. Slipped in like it was just a passing detail. "Madison, anyway, I'm not saying I meant what I said. I was emotional. Can we just talk like adults? Still no apology. Just deflection. Rewriting history. Madison. Also, I can't afford rent alone, and I don't want to break the lease. Oh, the truth creeps out. I'd already emailed the landlord to formally remove myself from the lease. I didn't know her anything. That weekend, she posted a black and white selfie with the caption, "Some people only love you when you're useful." And that was the most honest thing she'd said in months, though I doubt she meant it that way. I started rebuilding. I went back to the gym. Reconnected with friends I hadn't seen in ages. Took on a side project with a small gaming company. It paid half what I usually made, but it was fun and it felt like mine. One of the senior partners at my company noticed the work I'd done during the product launch and offered me a bonus and PTO. Go somewhere. For real. You've earned it, he said. So I booked a trip to Greece. Solo. A whole month out, just for me. No bickering. No guilt. No emotional roulette. Just sun, sea, and silence. The day after I booked the flight, Madison sent me a voice message. I didn't listen to it, but the text that followed said, "I miss your stability. Everything feels like it's falling apart now. You were the only person who never gave up on me. Please, just talk to me." I didn't respond, because by now, I wasn't trying to punish her. I wasn't bitter. I was just done. Done saving someone who thought love was measured in plane tickets and aesthetic couple content. Done being compared to a guy who couldn't hold down a job, but could apparently write poems on bar napkins. Done bleeding out for someone who thought my exhaustion was a character flaw, not proof that I was fighting for something real. Greece was everything I didn't know I needed. Quiet mornings with coffee and a view of the water. Late night walks through narrow cobblestone alleys. I didn't post much, just one picture. Me on a sailboat, sunglasses on, bottle of Mythos in hand, smiling like a man who'd finally exhaled. That's when the texts really started. Madison, wait, are you in Greece? I left her on read. 2 hours later, Madison, we were supposed to go there together. You said that was our trip. No, I had said I wanted to take her, back when I still thought she'd be someone worth taking. Then, Madison, I feel so sick. I can't believe how fast you moved on. You make it look easy. She didn't get it. This wasn't me moving on fast. This was the result of 1,000 quiet letdowns that slowly unstitched any love I had left. She thought I'd left in a rage, but I didn't leave angry. I left empty. When I got back to the hotel that night, I had a long message waiting. Madison, I was going through a lot. You never tried to understand how I felt. All I wanted was to feel appreciated. I gave you 2 years. 2 years. And the first time I needed something big from you, you bailed. Tyler was a mistake, okay? I didn't mean what I said. Please, let's meet when you get back. I miss you. It was strange. I wasn't even mad anymore. But I wasn't moved, either. Just indifferent. A week later, she tried calling again. I answered this time. I was watching the sunset from the hotel balcony, glass of wine in hand, sea breeze in the background. She sounded tired, like someone who had cried too much and slept too little. Madison, hey. Hi. You look good, she said. In the pictures. You look peaceful. I am. There was a long pause. Then she broke. Madison, I messed up, okay? I know that. I wasn't thinking clearly. I was stressed, I felt disconnected, and Tyler was just familiar. He wasn't real. I see that now. I needed you to show me you still cared. That's why I said those things. By threatening to go back to him. I was scared, she said, voice cracking. I wanted to feel wanted. You didn't even try. I stayed quiet for a moment. Then I said, Madison, I worked 80-hour weeks to give us a future. You saw that and said I didn't love you enough because I couldn't afford to fly you to Bali on demand. You didn't want love. You wanted proof. That's not fair. It's honest. Another pause. Then the anger crept back into her voice. You think you're perfect? You think disappearing like that was healthy? You abandoned me. I almost laughed. No, Madison. You made a demand. I just gave you your answer. She started texting mutual friends. Some reached out. One messaged me. Dude, she's a wreck. She said she was planning your future together, and you just ghosted her. I sent back one sentence. Did she tell you about the ultimatum? Silence. After that, even they went quiet. The truth always leaks, eventually. 3 weeks after I got back from Greece, I ran into her, By accident, I think, at a coffee shop near my office. She looked smaller somehow. Pale. Thin. Like someone who hadn't been eating well or sleeping right. She tried to smile. Hey, you look different. I feel different. You really done? She asked, voice trembling. Like, for real. I nodded. Calm. Gentle, even. You were right about one thing, I said. You weren't the problem. Not alone, anyway. I was. What? I kept choosing someone who didn't know what love actually looked like. I don't hate you. I just finally love myself more than your version of love. She didn't say anything. I picked up my coffee, turned to leave. She called after me. I just wanted something beautiful. I turned halfway, met her eyes. So did I. Then I walked out. That was the last time I ever saw Madison. She still follows me from a burner account. I've seen the name change a few times, but the profile picture is always some aesthetic quote or beach photo. Meanwhile, I've started seeing someone. She doesn't care about last-minute vacations or viral couple goals. She gets excited when I finish work on time. She calls dinner at home cozy. She thanks me for showing up. And she doesn't think love needs proof. It just needs presence. Madison will probably keep chasing sparkles and spectacle, confusing chaos for romance. But me? I finally know the difference. And I'm never going back. Thanks for watching. Make sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the like button. What do you think about this story? Share it in the comments.